Welcome back to another episode of Fishing is My Summer Job. This episode I've got to set. The first segment deals with a little bit of lake trout fishing. It's been really tough fishing the lake that I'm on. This particular laker came up and hammered it, but it's been few and far between. The smelt population kind of crashed a few years ago. There was a big mayfly hatch. I got this just before the mayfly hatch, so it should be good for next week. I think the fish have finally moved back onto their summer pattern, and should have some good footage for you, maybe even some little tips and tricks. You got to remember, on inland lakes, you have to fish them like inland lakers, and I think that involves going to a little smaller lure presentation. Speeds are still about the same, you know, that 1.8 to 2.1 is my go-to range. But like I say, a lot of fun on these fish. This one ended up being a little bit over 11 pounds and about 30 inches long. I've obviously edited the fight down quite a bit, but it was a good fish and a lot of fun. The lake that I'm fishing is one of the better southern Michigan lake trout lakes, but even on this lake, you average probably a fish every 2 trips down. Last year I was catching a lot of lakers. Before that, I'd catch 5 pike to every laker, maybe 10 pike to every laker. So a lot of fun, a lot of action on that lake. For part 2 of the video, I'm back on the river throwing topwater baits and jigs at smallmouth bass. I had a great trip. I caught a few nice fish. I got another one that was 23 inches in a completely different section of the river. A few 19s, a few 20s, and then a lot of that good 12 to 14 inch fish. Also had a chance on this video to see mature eagles and one immature eagle, and if you watch closely in the backdrop of the video, there's a family of beavers. If you fish smallmouth long enough, you find out that the fish tend to have a home range, a resting range, and a feeding range. I found this area, I think if you watch my last video, I got the fish in the exact same spot, exact same cast, and I think it was on the exact same lure coming out of this log jam. A little smaller fish this time, so this must be an area where, due to the current and the logs, the fish are in there hitting. Right here you can watch a little topwater action. There was a nice little hit. Boom, there he is, and landed this fish. It was a lot of fun. Not a real big one, but still, every smallmouth bass fights hard, so they're all a blast to catch. One of the reasons I'm throwing topwater in these areas is the fish are aggressive, they're looking up, and they're over top of huge log jams, brush piles. Here I have a fish hit, and it immediately takes me down into the brush. I could not get it out. I tried, I thought I could, but ended up breaking my line, losing my lure. Yeah, heavy cover is where the fish are at this time of year. These little teeny grass openings in the grass flats, in and around logs, that's where the fish are, and you'd be surprised, some really big fish. No matter how you hold this fish, it was about 20 inches. I've got one of those nets that's got the measuring tape on it, so I can always kind of tell exactly how big they are. Here's another segment, a little topwater hit. Not a giant fish, but a good fighter, and kind of exciting nonetheless. And again, if you notice in a lot of the videos where I'm showing me working, most of the time I try to work back upstream, so that as I pop it, the current's bringing the bait towards the fish. Pop, the current moves the bait. It's a more natural presentation. They will hit in certain sections where you cast it downstream and work it back into the current, but normally you're better going the other way. In this segment, you'll see I just do a little cast, and I'm just dragging the jig on the bottom. There's actually a log jam you can't see. It's just right in front of it. And like I say, this fish fights pretty hard, and is a lot of fun. And like I say, I went back a second time, paddled in, casted, worked in front of that just in case there was another one with it. A lot of times when you catch one, especially on the jig, you'll see a second fish chasing. When that happens, occasionally I'll grab another rod and toss at it. Like I say, here's some of the bigger fish that I caught on the trip. Like I say, it was a great trip. There's a lot of nice fish in this river, and like I say, most stretches of the river. So, like I say, if you get a chance, get out on your kayak, pick a river in your area. Most of them contain some really nice fish. And remember, once again, fishing is my summer job.